We're live with another episode of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. Sir, introduce yourself.
No shit, Bonito. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. It's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. If you hear sounds of mastication in the background, which is just a fancy word, get your heads out the gutter for someone eating. It's because I just got home like 20 minutes ago and I'm fucking hungry. In order for me to get to my place of business, I had to wake up at 4 o'clock this morning. So I've been up for 18 hours today. Over 18 hours at this point. So I'm kind of tired. But hey, the show must go on. So, it's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. Glad to have you guys here. Kenoshi, introduce you. What have you been playing?
I haven't really been playing much. I've been going through Visions of Mana. And Gestalt. So those are the two games I've been playing.
Gestalt of Steam and Cinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game. I found that game to be a little on the short side, but man, that art style is so fucking good.
Yeah, it does have a nice art style.
The music is good and the art style is amazing.
Yeah.
I like if this game was another 10 hours longer, it would be amazing.
I think it was one of those games that was made by probably like 3 people.
Yeah, but I mean, Stardew Valley was made by one person, and there's tons of content in that game.
That's a good point.
So I don't think the size of a team working on a game makes a game good or bad. It's the vision behind what they're doing. Case in point, you know, some of the games that have huge teams behind them, and then you get to the game and game is kind of trash, So, but that is what it is. I mean, there are games that have come out where I'm like, man, this is this game had a lot of potential, and y'all shat the bed. Like they did that Splinter Cell game years ago, where they changed the voice actor, and I'm like, if y'all did like a younger John Fisher, Sam Fisher, that would be an interesting take. And they were like, no, we just didn't want to pay Michael Ironside his money. Who was the original voice actor? And I'm like, why would you do that? You know? Because y'all had a good thing going and you messed it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they tend to do that.
I mean, they fuck up a lot of shit in certain games. You know, I've seen people. I have played games where I was like, man, this premise was really good, and then you get to a certain point in the game, you're like, man, but y'all fucked it up. You know, like I remember playing Dragon Age 2, and I'm like, the premise behind Dragon Age 2 is that instead of you traveling all around the world and going to different locations, completing different side quests and shit like that,
Yeah.
in Dragon Age 2, everything would be set in a city and changes over time, shaped by the choices you make, would change how the city um, looked over time, and how certain characters would live or die or move away, or move there and live, make it their permanent residence, all that type of shit.
Yeah.
Now, on paper, that sounds really fucking cool, don't it?
Yeah. But we're not allowed to have good ideas. We're not allowed to have good things.
No. Now, there's just one problem.
What's
And
that?
none of that came out of that game.
Yeah.
Here's what wound up being in the game. The game wound up being functionally, at its core, it was just a fucking like, the choices that you made really didn't have much of an effect on the overall story that the developers wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
For example, right? Like, early on in the game, after your father died and you moved to the new city, Kirkwall, and you're talking to your character's mother, right? And like, you can choose. Your mother says, "Well, a man's asked me out on a date," and you can like either like your binary choice is that you can either support her on going out and dating, because it's been a while, like a few years since your father died, or you can like be like, I forbid you to go out there and do that shit, basically, right? Now, here's the thing. Okay? No matter what you do, your mother's still going to get murdered by this guy who's been killing multiple women to get their body parts to resurrect his dead sister using necromancy.
Oh, jeez.
So no matter what you do, your mother's going to die.
Oh.
Yeah.
What game was this again?
Dragon Age 2.
Dragon Age 2?
Yeah.
Oh. Man, that sucks.
Yeah, no matter what you did, they wanted your character's mother to die.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll talk about bad writing. I guess they didn't have a scenario or couldn't think of a scenario in which your character's mother lives.
No, they, in order for them to have the stories, because the whole point of Dragon Age 2 was that they had a narrative that they crafted in their heads, and you as the player had to follow their narrative.
Yeah.
Which is fine if, you're playing like a JRPG. But Western RPGs have always had a little bit more freedom in how you play those. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You could have just trolled everybody and had a scenario where your mother does live, but it turns out you end up getting a worse ending, versus if your mother dies, you end up getting the better ending.
That's not even the ending. That's just something that happened.
No, I'm saying that your mother living or dying leads to either your mother living leads to worse things happening, and then or your mother dying leads to a better scenarios.
Yeah,
Troll everybody, but
they could have done that, but that would have been interesting, and that would have been interesting and all that type of shit. Why should they have interesting shit going on?
Yeah, aren't there games that didn't what was it, Fable 3 do something like that where heroism actually led to a worse outcome versus maybe making what seemed to be the bad choice
Um, I
or
mean,
something like that?
Fable. Well. The thing is like, at the end game, there was a portion where, in order to save your kingdom, you had to you had to have a certain amount of money. So basically, if you had not been playing the game knowing that you had to make a metric fuck ton of money at the end of the game, like if you hadn't had that in your thoughts when you did it, what would happen is that you would basically be like, oh shit, I gotta I gotta fucking make all this money. Now, here's the dirty
This
little
is the
secret.
most clutch.
What you did in the last part of the game before the real end game began was you raised the taxes on everybody, and then instead of like just kind of like ending going to ending that period of the game so that the ending began, you just basically just let the system run for like a few hours, and you would accrue enough money to pay for everything that had to be done. And so you'd get the good ending just by being a really tough king for like basically the period. Like in game, it was only like a year, 2 years, but in reality, it'd be like 3 or 4 hours. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And so you could still be a hero, be a little bit of an asshole at the end, and still save the game, still save the
yeah,
world. Because the whole point, the reason why your character in Fable 3 rebels against your brother is because your brother's doing all this fucked up shit. You find out later on that he saw like the ultimate evil when he went to like this ancient archaeological site, and it
yeah,
scared him so much. It showed him a vision of it coming. So that's why he was basically raising taxes on the peasants. Like he was being like how if he had just been honest and said, "Look, there's this really fucked up thing coming, and I saw it, and we have like 10, 15 years to prepare for it. So we're gonna have to make some tough choices." Like if he had done that, it would the game would have been easier. But it's like manufactured drama. You know what I mean? It's like when you
yeah,
watch those movies about relationships, and it's like, why didn't you tell me? And blah 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 blah. And it's like this is manufactured drama.
yeah,
Like they'll have a woman, right? And she'll be dating a dude. She's like, this dude's perfect. He treats me well. He's nice to my kids. And then she gets mad when she finds out that he also has a child, has a daughter from another marriage, and he's still friendly with the mother of his child. Like
yeah,
they're divorced or something. Why did you tell me? It's like, well, because like I didn't know you that long enough for me to tell you that I have another child, or to like introduce you to the mother of my ex-wife. Like we don't, we're not at that point. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so they like manufacture. It's like, well, in the movie or the TV show, why didn't you tell me? It's like, well, like people don't just put that shit. Like, okay, some people are honest up front. Like a woman will say, I have 2 kids. One is blah blah. The other one is blah blah. And you know, if you can't deal with that, then you can't deal with me. But
yeah.
some women don't tell you. They be hiding that shit. It's like, well, goddamn, who's that motherfucker over there? That's my son. God damn. When the fuck did you find him? That motherfucker's bigger than me.
Oh man, yeah, that's something people will do. At least you know they'll hide their. Which is, I get where you hide your kids, but they won't tell you that they have kids. Like,
Now, the only time I would say it's appropriate to hide your kids is if you have an inordinate large amount of them, or you're a certain age and you have a kid that's way too goddamn old for your age.
yeah,
You're like, I'm 36. I got a 20-year-old. It's like, god damn. The fuck were you doing
wow.
as a teenager?
So you were getting dirty at 16. God
You
damn, you didn't protect yourself at
you
16. I
you
mean,
didn't believe in prophylaxis, or You know,
I
they're
mean, I know teenagers like to fool around too, but at least protect yourself. God
look.
damn.
Here's the reason why I say it's kind of bullshit. Because here's the thing: There's tons of fun shit you can do that doesn't involve actual intercourse,
That's
and you
true.
don't have kids. So when I see people who are like teenagers and they had kids, I'm like, okay. If you want to go that way, people get mad when they hear that. They're like, how dare you say that, you bastard? I'm just telling you, man. It's but anyway, yeah, man. That's when I'm like, okay, I can't. I see good games, and I'm just like, why'd you do that? Like I don't, I can't let it go. I'm like, why did you fuck that shit up?
Yeah.
So you know, yeah, but there are a lot of games where like, man, this was a really cool premise, and y'all just fucked that shit up. You know, and good developers can fuck up a good premise. Star Fox Zero was a good idea, fucked up in execution, and I stand by that statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, bet you didn't know that. Yeah, man. Star Fox Zero, the concept of Platinum making a Star Fox game. And it's like, wow, that they could make a really good Star Fox game. And then what we got was bland. It was bland.
Yeah.
It was a bland game. But I truly do believe that the more gimmicks you add to a Star Fox game, the shittier the Star Fox game gets, in my opinion. Like a Star Fox game can only carry one or two gimmicks at a time, right? Like the original Star Fox, its big gimmick was the FX chip, right? That was the gimmick.
Yeah.
3D graphics, pseudo 3D graphics, okay? Because they weren't really 3D, they were pseudo 3D graphics. That was the gimmick. And then Star Fox 64 added 3D graphics, all range mode, and rumble. And to me, Star Fox 64 is kind of like a weaker Star Fox game than the original Star Fox. I know that's a dirty term. People gonna get mad when they hear that. What? Why'd you say that? It kind of. To me, it is because Star Fox 64 is trying to do too much to a premise that's very like the original Star Fox games. Like on the SNES, those levels could be beaten in under like 2 or 3 minutes. You know, like you listen to the tune of the level and you would have fun. Then you would fight the boss, and then you'd move on to the next level, and that was it. You play a Star Fox 64 level, especially some of the longer ones, and it's like this shit is taking forever. 5, 6, 7 minutes to get through a level that, like Corneria, a level that before you could beat in like 2 or 3 minutes, like in the on the SNES, has become a 5, 6 minute slog. And in my opinion, the music not as good as the original. it's like, ugh, Jesus. Then you got to go into all range mode. All range mode, which sucks. Yeah, I said it. It sucks. It sucks. Those dog fights with the Star Wolf team. So all they do is just fucking do loop de loops and U turns, or fly higher than you can reach. Shit.
Yeah.
Do something different. Shit. And then they did Star Fox Assault on the GameCube. That game was kind of fun. Graphically, it looked great. I think, in my opinion, I think that game looked better than Star Fox on the Wii, on the Wii U. But I mean, it had on foot missions with tank controls. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I've never seen a video game on the GameCube. You know, another GameCube flying game that had on foot missions with tank controls?
What was that?
Rogue Squadron 3.
Oh,
Yeah. And that's considered the weakest in that trilogy. And just when we thought, oh man, this franchise can't get any worse, they did Star Fox Command, where it was a Star Fox game where you pilot your R wing with a fucking stylus.
yeah. They seem to shoehorn a lot of gimmicks in the Star Fox games.
Yeah, 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 man. Don't actually, give commands to your co-pilots and your wingmen with the stylus. I'm like, can't we just have a game with normal controls? So why we got to do all this extra shit? And just when I thought, oh man, they're done doing all this extra shit, they did Star Fox for the Wii U, Star Fox Zero, which is a remix of Star Fox 64 with gimmick ass controls. Which means they didn't learn a goddamn thing from Star Fox on the DS. Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. Which just proves one thing. You know, having a good idea with no vision to really put it out in a good way, it would be better if you just did some basic by the book shit. But anyway, enough about that. Anything else you want to add before we move on to the next topic?
No, I'm good.
All right. There are no games where you're like, man, this premise was really good, but y'all fucked that execution up.
Um, oh shoot. I thought. Oh, remember me. I thought that was a really interesting premise. I know it got really panned. It got panned. People shed all over that game. I thought the game has some interesting ideas. Might not have been executed very well.
What was the premise of
Interesting.
that game? What was the premise that was just poorly realized?
Well, the premise was that memories were like a bit of a currency, and the main character had a special ability where she can remix memories
Mm-hmm.
and um, manipulate people's memories to make them think one thing happened. To I don't remember the entire story exactly, but that was the idea, and also you could customize your attacks. It kind of used the. It was inspired a little bit by the Batman system, but you could fighting system, but you could customize your attack moves. Um, they said it was an interesting idea. Just the biggest issue was this is just poorly executed, and of course nobody remembers it because it was shot on all over and it was forgotten
And it
as
also,
quickly as it came out.
I believe it sold not too well.
No, no.
Yeah.
Instead of making another one of those, they decided to go make freaking life not Life is Strange, the other that adventure game about the girl who can turn back time.
Gree?
What?
Gree?
No,
Was it a RPG?
no, it was an adventure game. It was
Hmm.
like like an interactive like adventure game, like the Telltale games and stuff.
One of those games. Yeah, I'm blanking. I don't really
Yeah,
play
I'm
a lot of
blanking out
adventure
too.
games these days. If it's not like old school LucasArts, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. I don't know. That game had an interesting idea too. It's just the characters were all kind of pretty terrible. They're just unlikable. A lot of the characters, they were. Eh, I wasn't a huge fan of them. I mean, I played the first. I played the first episode. Um, I think I played the second episode, and I was just kind of like, I don't really care about this anymore.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of games are like that. It's like, oh, this is gonna be great, and it's like, this is some bullshit. Yeah, yeah. It's hard for a game to come out well. Very difficult, if not impossible. But you know, it is what it is. What it is. What it is. But
Oh yeah, and Pokemon Stadium. That could have been cool too, but
oh yeah, yeah. The idea behind Pokemon Stadium was great. The execution was shit.
yeah.
You know, because it
I like
just
the
turned
po-
out to be a lot of party games, and also the fighting was trash.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the fighting. That's kind of why I was even though that has its problems, but that's kind of like when Pokemon Tournament came out. That's
Yeah,
that was how I felt that Pokemon Stadium should have
that's
been.
what Pokemon Stadium should have been. I mean, even if you had turn-based combat, when the Pokemon fought attacked, you should have been seeing them actually attack each other, and not that bullshit they did in Stadium where it was like it would like you would see the attack and then would cut to the other Pokemon and they just stagger. I'm like, this is stupid. And a lot of
Yeah.
mini games, a lot of shitty ass fucking mini games. I'm like, y'all actually thought this was viable? Don't get me started on the mediocrity of
Mediocrity of Pokemon, what it's become.
yeah, the mediocrity of current Pokemon.
Mm.
It's like, oh, we don't have to put any effort because people buy this shit no matter what happens.
Pokemon needs to take a break for like 3 or 4 or 5 years.
I would say 5.
5 years,
Like
yeah.
release one
I see.
Pokemon and leave it the fuck alone for like 5 years. Just go do something else. Go make some new IPs. And even if they don't sell Pokemon numbers, just fucking make some new shit.
Yeah.
I know
They
that's
make
a
other.
no.
They've
Go
made
ahead.
other games. Like they made the elephant game. Um, that's the only other game I remember them making. I know they've made Game Freak has made other games, but they're the Pokemon factory, so they gotta
Yeah.
keep churning out Pokemon games. Yeah, that latest Pokemon game. Oh man, talk about trash graphics. Like none of the Pokemon characters have skin or hair textures. They're just flat. They all look like balloons or cheap cheap toys.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Pokemon has been shit for many, many years. And when you mention this to people, they get angry at you. They're like, don't say that about Pokemon. I'm like, what was the last? Like, I mean, for me, I knew Pokemon, they ran out of ideas when they fucking had Pokemon that were like keys and fucking ice cream cones and shit. I was like,
Yeah, it was over.
am I the only one
Like,
seeing how lazy this shit is?
yeah, yeah.
I can't be the only one who's seeing how lazy this shit is.
And why is it that fans that make alternate Pokemon games come up with more interesting ideas
Yeah.
for Pokemon?
Look, the best Pokemon I played in a long time was Pokemon Radio Uranium, which is
Yeah,
basically like a hack of Pokemon Crystal. Sorry, Pokemon
yeah,
Emerald. And Pokemon Crystal Clear, which is a hack of Pokemon Crystal. Like, because the base games are so fucking basic. And I don't mean that like this is a basic burger. I mean basic as in they didn't do shit to push this forward.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, Pokemon mod. I gotta check out some of those Pokemon modded games. They sound really interesting. So they have
Oh, they are.
Pokemon hack games where you can fuse the elements of different monsters
To
together.
create new monsters. Yeah.
Create new. It's like,
Yeah.
how have you guys not figured this out?
Man,
Like,
I told you, Pokemon Crystal Clear, which is a hack of Pokemon Crystal, lets you can basically create your own trainer. You can choose
yeah,
from a lot of templates. You can be Classic Red. You can be the character from Gold and Silver and Crystal. You can be a Team Rocket. You can be a Bug Trainer. You can choose your starting Pokemon, and it's not just a Fire, Water, or Grass type. It's like, wow, if only the base Pokemon games would do this. Nah, that's too difficult. Yeah, they'll put out some shit that's they know is broken and fundamentally flawed, and then lie and be like, "We didn't know that this game was broken." Bullshit.
yeah. I guess if you introduce fusions, it'd be like if you start introducing fusions, like it's too much work. Now we have to figure out the math and figure out
Man,
what the weaknesses is, and then
here's the thing.
well, you just create fusion classes, and that fusion class would be weak to that particular fusion class.
Here's the thing. They have Chat GPT. They have algorithms that make this shit easier to understand and use. So the argument that this would be difficult for us to implement is disingenuous.
Yeah, yeah, it would be. It
It's
would be.
just they have no incentive because the main line players of Pokemon will buy anything. as long as it says Pokemon. I mean, the Game Freak president could probably shit in a box and label it Pokemon Brown, and people will buy it. Not me, but Pokemon fans will buy it. They're like, well, I gotta buy it. It's Pokemon Brown. It's the latest Pokemon game. I gotta purchase it. It's like, why? Well, I mean, I have to. I have no choice. I have to buy Pokemon Brown. But it's fundamentally broken. It's a broken piece of shit. I don't care. I gotta buy it. What I'm saying is that Pokemon fans are just lazy. Lazy, lack of imagination, and don't hold anyone accountable. Um, Sadly. But you know, tis what it is, what it is. Anyway, enough of that. I thought we were going to do latest gaming news. We can cover that next week once TGS is completely over. I guess we'll just do unpopular opinion and free topic. Do you have an unpopular opinion you'd like to share about gaming? It's like, I've been holding on for this. It needs to be said.
Mm. No, not this week. Not this week.
All right. I have an unpopular opinion. My unpopular opinion is this. Um, Gamers need to be cooler. They need to be cool with their games and accept less bullshit. Will they? Probably not, because gamers are how can I put this? Gamers are in some cases kind of like sheeple. They don't hold anyone accountable, and they'll put up with anything. Sadly, but anyway, enough about that. Any free topics you'd like to bring up?
Um, yeah, there's a question I've been meaning to ask you about like movies or dead actors, because there's another actor that died a couple days ago.
Whom?
Uh, um, do you think with the advent of AI,
Mm-hmm.
um, resurrecting old actors for various parts in movies, do you think that's a form of grave robbing, or do you think, if you wait maybe a decade or two, you could probably get away with that?
That is a good question. I have three thoughts. Okay, three opinions to go with your question. A, it depends on how broke the actor's family is, his or her estate is. If it's someone who was known for one role a long, long time ago, and they're dead, and the people who hold their estate are like, look, we'll license out their likeness and put them in other shit, and the AI gets to the point where it's virtually indistinguishable from if that person was actually alive. If there's a long enough time period, as long as you give the estate some money, like a cut, then I think it's fair. Like if they were making if Hollywood decided to make new Bruce Lee movies, like they just basically AI'd a new Bruce Lee, like in his prime, no injuries, just like Jeet Kune Do Bruce Lee. I mean, I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I mean, he's been dead for like 50 plus years. Why? What am I holding on to? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
If if you're trying to bring back one of my favorite comedians of all, a lot of my favorite comedians of all time are dead. Like Rodney Dangerfield is dead. Red Fox is dead. Um, George Carlin is dead. So if you want to basically like have them be in movies and shit, like I think the statute of limitations should be 30 plus years. If they've been dead for 30 plus years and their estate is still around and they want to like, license them out. However, I think the estate should have a say in what they would be doing. Like you
Yeah.
can't have James Earl Jones as Darth Vader selling like Wheaties.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
please, if you will join us for a fully balanced breakfast. Just like no, stop that shit. Like it has to be something that gives respect to the actor. Um, so that's my second answer, and my third answer is, once again, it depends. It all depends on what you're doing it for and how you're doing it. For example, if they want to use like when Sam Jackson dies, that's going to be a sad day because who else is going to curse like that? Well, Mitch is it, motherfucker? I said, what did you, motherfucker? Say what again? Say what one more goddamn time? I dare you. I double dog dare you, motherfucker. It's like, who can curse like that? No one can curse like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
And when he's gone, it's gonna be like, man, who is gonna take the place of cursing like that? Some people will say the guy from Superbad, the fat guy who had the weight loss surgery and got skinny, skinnier. But it's like, yeah, that's nice and all, but you still ain't like,
You ain't Sam. Yeah,
you ain't Sam Jackson. Yeah. You ain't. Look, man,
Yeah.
cool. I like your energy, but you ain't Sam Jackson. All right.
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, like I like so many things. Okay, if you're using AI, everyone's like you treating AI like it's a dirty word. If you are using other people's work in order to make your AI, give them a cut of the profits and give them like say this AI was created thanks to the help of blah 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 blah, and give those people their cut and keep it moving.
Yeah.
Like don't just use because first of all it's not really AI. You're using an algorithm in order to pick bits and pieces of information and then basically ameliorate all that information into one thing. But that's not the same as you doing it yourself. Case in point, if you use Chat GPT to write a paper for you, right? You give it the parameters and all that shit, right? And then you go in and do all that shit, blah 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 blah, etc., right? And that's not the same as you writing it yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's not the child of your mind; it's the child of a computer's of a program's algorithm. That's not the same thing. Because like here's the thing about computers. Here's why an algorithm is never going to outdo a talented or genius level human, uh, a human intellect, because humans can make leaps in logic using inductive reasoning that a computer can't do. An algorithm has to follow the steps. You know, a computer has to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know, it has to follow a sequence. Whereas our intellect, we can take all the bits and knowledge that we have and come to a conclusion that a computer would have a program, an algorithm would never have any idea how to reach that conclusion because an algorithm can't use inductive reasoning. It can make an educated guess based on the data at hand, but it can't infer what's missing from the missing data.
Yeah. That's true.
So when people tell me that, oh man, well AI is not taking all your jobs. AI is not going to outcompete a human being. Have you listened to some of the songs written by AI?
Yeah, they're not great.
They're not great. I mean, some of them are funny, like BBL Drizzy.
Yeah.
Or Beans and Baloney. Beans and Baloney, man, that guy's singing his ass off with no auto-tune, singing about beans and baloney. Please come home. I got beans and bologna. I'm sorry I made you cry.
the thing that the thing that's the thing that is you're still gonna need people to know how to manipulate the request to the AI to
Yeah,
get something really good out of it.
yeah, that's true. And you also have to have people who, not only do you have to have people who do that, you have to have people who fucking know. You got to have people who are creating the content that is bripping off.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, sorry, it's using as its source in order to, it's like you can use a search engine to find whatever you want, but if you don't have people creating content for that search engine to find, what's the point?
Yeah, because I know, like artists and musicians right now are freaking out about. Well, musicians are artists, so artists are freaking out right now about AI, but in reality, they're still gonna essentially outpace everybody else because they have the the knowledge pertaining to their particular art form, um, probably and how to ask the AI what to do or what to produce. So even
Well,
still, they would still create something better than somebody who just types in a few queries.
well, the thing about an artist, like a musician, right? A musician can go on tour, and all that money goes to them. There isn't an AI.
Yeah,
There isn't a algorithm because I hate when people call it an AI. There isn't a programmed algorithm that is going to be able to go on tour and get a crowd moving the same way an actual musician can, or the way an actual comedian can, because it doesn't. That personal touch is just not there. And I know some people would be like, "Oh, don't say that." Oh, come on, man. Let's use critical thinking here. Okay, you know good and hell well that there's no computer, even that Hatsune Miku hologram shit isn't gonna be at that level.
yeah,
But that's my own personal opinion. But yeah, that was a good topic. So, anything else you wanna say on it before we wrap things up?
no, I'm good.
All right. This is the end of the cast. Anything you want to add before we wrap things up? Anything you want to
Yeah,
pimp out?
doing music on Project Open Mic. Doing some Halloween stuff. I have something. Uh, Posted something this morning. It's called Lonely Drive. Check it out. I do a gaming cast every once in a while. So
All right, that's good. Glad to have you on this one. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. I will not be having. Well, no, I will be having a cast next week. The week of the 6th of the 14th, which I mean that may be Columbus Day. Let me look that up. Google Calendar. Google Calendar. Google Calendar. See, I think Columbus is that's the 14th, Indigenous People Day. So the week of Columbus Day, aka Indigenous People Day, which is a better name because I mean, come on, man. Why should we celebrate when some Italian guy came to America and discovered places where people already lived? Uh, so I'm gonna be having some business meetings in downtown DC. So, in order for me to prevent me having to do all that fucking driving, because everything's during the day, I'm going to be in a hotel, a nice hotel, and I don't have to pay for it. So that's great. So hopefully my internet should be a little bit better that week. Hopefully. Anyway, that's in the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, play your games, blah blah blah, etc., etc. That's it.